share this. Can everybody see my slides?
Yep.
Cool. So first of all, I wanted to say, Celia, your turtle photo would have been great metaphor for my talk today. I thought about that. And also, we've done a few pizza making workshops online and at Rubikoff a couple of years ago. So yeah, so hopefully people are enjoying to making pizzas at home. So I want to talk about work-life balance or what we can learn from COVID this year. But really, this talk can be do as I say, not as I do, especially when I was prepping for this talk, because I finished my slides as this meeting was starting. So hooray for me. In the past, in late stages of the Industrial Revolution, people were overworked. In the United Kingdom, it was common for the average worker to work 14 to 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. These long hours and sorry, I should really do this. These long hours had social and health costs, especially for young children who were also working. Around the same time, in the US, the workers worked about 100 hours per week on average. In 1940, Fair Labor Standards Act in the US adopted a 40 hours work week. It was also common for the men to go out to work without worrying about housekeeping and family raising, because this was the wife's job. Back then, and up until the internet exploded and seeped into all aspects of our lives, work scope at least was clear. Work was a clearly distinctive time from not work time. Workers went home and disconnected from work. There were no mobile notifications to drag us back in. Nowadays, the web and with it work is available 24/7. The distinctions of on and off work time is no longer so clear. With mobile phones and personal computers, work is accessible at home. Taking work home is becoming the norm, as is working from home, even more during COVID. The majority of the work we, at least in our industry, do now is not physical, but rather mental work that stays with us when we go in the shower or for a walk around the block. Our head is constantly full with all the tasks that need to be done. There is a bigger problem when the team lead or supervisor knows we are an email away at all times, even on weekends. Or if leadership role models work at all hours of the day, or if leadership celebrates hero culture or models working longer, not smarter, and getting us across the line, because sales don't wait for anyone. Actual sentence that I heard last week. But basically, we don't really get a break. So let's talk about a couple of hidden assumptions here. Work and life are separated entities. Nope. Work is part of life. Work-life balance doesn't make sense because work is part of life. Another assumption: work is bad, life is good. Not correct either. Some work can be great. The real question is how much of work versus how much of everything else do we do? So really what we are saying is that we should have balance between work and everything else. Last one, should the balance be 50-50? Nope again. We should definitely not be working 50% of our time. So let's try to define this better. Work-life balance is the idea that a fulfilling life outside of work helps improve work performance while reducing stress. Work-life balance simply means striking a healthy balance between our working life and our personal life, which is not necessarily about equal hours or counting the hours in each activity. Instead, we might think of work-life balance as a balance between achievement and enjoyment. The perfect work-life balance would mean never sacrificing one for the other. It involves continually pushing our achievements in a professional sense, while also finding new and fulfilling ways to enjoy our time off. Now, I want to mention a side note about women. These days, many women serve as providers for the family unit with or without partners doing the same. However, thanks to the patriarchy, women also tend to feel guilty about not being there for their family and end up doing more of the housework and looking after the children than their male counterparts. So let's talk about being busy. I'm busy nowadays is the norm. People are obsessed with being busy. When people ask, how are you? A very common response is, I'm so busy. Before COVID, we, or I at least, used to fill every second of the day with things to do, usually social interactions, since I work from home, and this is a way to make up for not seeing people in the office. Being busy makes us feel good. We have places to go, things to do, people to meet. It makes us feel important and productive, but it is also a choice that we make. Um, Being busy is actually quite easy. We just say yes to everything and feel important and not lazy. But being busy does not mean making a greater connections with friends and family, and it does not make us happier. Usually, it is a cover for feeling of loneliness, grief, anger, or fear, which in turn can lead to anxiety. The choice we make means that we are leading a hacked-in pace, and to make it all work, we multitask, meaning we switch tasks and contexts all the time, which makes completed all our tasks longer. It does not actually save us time. It also makes us more mentally tired. We lose focus, patience, and energy. I have a friend that went to visit her sister during COVID. Usually, when she visits her sister, they do what needs to be done and then they rush to the next appointment. This time during COVID, my friend didn't really have another place she needed to be at. She didn't even have another place she could be at, except home. She could just stay and connect with her sister. So she did for 5 hours. She described that as joy. Now, being busy all the time has consequences. Some are fatigue, exhaustion, and stress. When we are tired, our ability to work productively and think clearly suffers. In our rush to get all of it done, at the office and at home, it is easy to forget that our stress levels spike, our productivity plummets, and stress can zap our concentration, make us irritable or depressed, and harm our personal and professional relationship. It can take a toll on our reputation and will lead to dangerous or costly mistake for the organization. It can lead to poor health. Over time, stress also weakens our immune system and makes us susceptible to a variety of ailments. It also puts us at a risk of substance misuse. We sometimes turn to sedatives to make the day pass easier, dull those feelings of unquietness, like drinking wine every night and vegging out in front of the TV until it's too late at night. Don't really know anyone like that. It can lead to lost time with family and friends. If we work too much, we spend less time with our loved ones and might miss important family events or milestones. This can leave us feeling left out and might harm our relationships. Our sleep also suffers. Matthew Walker says that in his book, Why We Sleep, Unlocking the Power of Sleep and Dreams, he says that it takes up to 3 hours to switch off at night after we have been staring at a bright screen. He also says that caffeine has a 12 hours half-time, which means that after 12 hours, we still have 50% of the caffeine in our system. Some people do process caffeine faster than others, but we all get less efficient as we age. But the main idea is that our sleep suffers when we drink caffeine and alcohol. This is not sustainable. We are not doing our best work without taking a break. He also says that we know that efficiency and effectiveness are increased when you get insufficient sleep, and it will take you longer to do the same thing on an underslept brain, which means you end up having to stay awake longer. And so goes the vicious cycle. Have you haven't been too tired to work after a bad night's sleep? Did you feel misty and groggy, not able to concentrate? When we don't sleep well and for enough hours at night, time to physical exhaustion drops by 10 to 30%, and aerobic output is significantly reduced. When we sleep well, we are physically rested. Furthermore, sleep aids us with improved memory. It helps us with learning, preparing the brain to make new memories, and then cement those memories so we can remember what we've learned. Sleep is also responsible for the overnight motor skill improvements. When we learn a new physical skills, we also perform it better the next day. So we talked about consequences. Let's talk about the other side of the coin, the benefits of taking a break. Now, I'm pretty sure we know this, but we don't follow that. But let's talk about them anyway. So if we take a break, we will have less stress. We will have improved mental health, better physical health, improved personal relationship. Taking a break means we are recharged, ready for work, and are able to be present. Increased engagement and productivity at work will be better. We can tackle what is in front of us more vigorously, and we'll have increased creative thinking. We come up with fresh ideas more easily, and the task get completed quicker. But the reality is that in a talk, in a TED talk, Nigel Marsh said that governments and corporations will not solve this for us. We need to take control of our life, on the lives that we want to lead. If you don't design your life, someone else will design it for you with their idea of balance. So, well, maybe New Zealand or Sweden will lead the way, but as it is for now, corporations are designed to get as much out of us as they can. We need to set the boundaries that we want in our lives. Talking about New Zealand, 6 months ago, Jacinda Ardern suggested employers consider a 4-day work week as a way to boost tourism and help employees address work-life balance issues. There is even a website for this initiative, which shows that the advantages for a 4-day work week, besides reduced cost, is having motivated and happier employees with less health issues and higher productivity levels. In Sweden, a few years ago, Sweden experimented with 6-hour days, with workers getting the chance to work fewer hours on full pay for a whole 2 years. During the first 18 months of the trial, the nurses working shorter hours logged less sick leave, reported better perceived health, and boosted their productivity by organizing 85% more activities for their patients. But since then, they went back to a full 8-hour days, and many people reported that they were more fatigued at the end of their workday. I will have a life when I retire should not be a life plan. The person with the most money when they die does not win this game. Life is short and work is not our life. So what we need to do is define for ourselves what a life worth living looks like. Small things matter and can transform our lives. Nothing major, we can start small. You need to define for yourselves what fulfillment means to you, what's important to you. Balance makes us better parents, better at our work, and better community members. Sarah Cameron, in her talk, says that we need work, play, and white space. White space is the phrase that comes from the design world, and it describes the white space on the page that makes the rest of the elements important and pop out. With our lives, white space can be going outside for a walk, having a break between other tasks, having a coffee to stay instead of to go, or giving ourselves some space to breathe. These breaks will increase our awareness and are an opportunity to connect more with people around us. But we need to have a mental shift in how we think. We need to decide that taking a break, making space for us is something that is important to us and our mental health. Now, the question is how important it is to you. Life does not happen inside a computer screen. So we need to go outside. We need to enjoy the sun. We need to get our vitamin D, and we need to make a connection with another human being. Now, there's some things that we can't control, but let's talk about some things that we can control. Some things we can completely, when we go home, we can completely unplug. The same technology that makes it easy for us to work from home can also burn us out if we use it 24/7. So turn off your computer. Don't check your email. Instead, spend that time with people in real life and catching up with further away friends on social media, but not too much. Separate your time for work and for socializing. Do not mix them. It will help reduce context switching while you work. It will also help you to wind down when you're not at work. And then a few more suggestions. You can disable notifications on your phone, on everything. You can, on a Mac, you can go to to preferences, screen time, and then set app limits on how long you can spend on Facebook or Instagram in a day. You can set downtime for your phone and computer. You can set communication limits when you can't be contacted. In preferences displays, you can set night shift to automatically shift the colors of the display to the warmer end of the color spectrum after dark to make it easier to go to sleep at night. Other things that we can do, we can not overschedule ourselves. We should not overcommit. Do you ever feel stressed when you just glance at your calendar? Learn to say no and give yourself some white space in between the things that you do. Caring for ourselves is, for example, a healthy lifestyle is essential for coping with stress and to achieve balance. That means eating well, a daily routine of physical exercise, and getting enough sleep. Find ways to relax, may it be exercise, yoga, meditation, baking, gardening, reading, getting pampered your way. Hobbies can help you relax, take your mind off work and recharge. You can stay active. Aside from its well-known physical benefits, regular exercise reduces stress, depression, and anxiety, and enables people to better cope with adversity. It will boost your immune system and keep you out of the doctor's office. Find different interests and hobbies, preferably not technology related, but who am I kidding? Maybe something that you want to learn, create, engaging, finding your passion. Moreover, fun activities you can do with your partner, family, or friends, such as hiking, dancing, taking cooking classes. You can volunteer. Research shows that volunteering to help others can improve your feeling of connection with others, as well as lead to better life satisfaction and lower psychological distress. So you can say, this is all good for me, but what about work? Ideally, leadership at your company understands how much life outside of work is important and role models this behavior for the rest of the team. Also, ideally, this is one of the organization's values. Working from home or frequently using technology to connect to work when you are at home can cause you to feel like you are always on the job. This can lead to chronic stress, seeking guidance from your manager about expectations for when you seek guidance from your manager about expectations for when you can disconnect. If you work from home, dress for work and have a quiet, dedicated space at home if possible. When you are done working each day, detach and transition to home life by changing your outfit or doing an activity with your kids. Set manageable goals each day. Being able to meet priorities helps us feel a sense of accomplishment and control. Be realistic about workloads and deadlines, especially during lockdown. Make a to-do list, take over important tasks first, and eliminate unessential ones. Be efficient with your time at work. Don't procrastinate or spend time on social media. Instead, break big jobs into smaller tasks. Complete the first one before moving to the next, and give yourself small rewards upon completion of each task. Ask for flexibility in work schedule and working from home. Take small breaks at work to clear your head and improve your ability to deal with stress and make good decisions when you jump back in. That can mean schedule meetings for 50 minutes instead of 60, so you can get a chance to go to the bathroom, make a cuppa, or just have a breather. Communicate effectively. Be honest with your teammates or your boss when you feel you are in a bind. Chances are you're not alone. But don't just complain, suggest practical alternatives or solutions on how to get the task done. Give yourself a break. No one's perfect. Allow yourselves to be human and just do the best you can. And lastly, get support. Chatting with friends and family can be important to your success at home or at work and can even improve your health. People with stronger support systems have more aggressive immune responses to illnesses than those who lack such support. But also develop a support system at work. Find a co-worker who can cover for you and vice versa when something at work or at home comes up. Now, sometimes that doesn't work. So let's talk about managing up. Hopefully you do team retros. So bring this up during a retro and make this a group discussion. This can help everyone understand they are not alone in this and come with ideas on how to tackle the situation as a team. Renegotiate deadlines with your manager. All deadlines are set by people. Very rarely they are not movable. Ask your manager about flexible work hours and communicate clearly about when you're working and when you're not, so the whole team knows when they can expect to reach you. If your manager tries to reach you when you're off and they expect you to be available, unless it is an emergency, communicate that this is not cool and you have responsibilities at home or just that you're not currently available. Now, what did COVID teach me? I saw this tweet today that made me feel like this is so on point for today's presentation. So during the first lockdown, we kept my daughter M at home while still trying to work. Between looking after a child 100% of the time, being consumed by a worldwide pandemic and being stressed because of it, we did not function well for the first few weeks. But as time passed, we came up with a plan and set some priorities. Our main priority was to exercise every single day. Exercise can cause a release of endorphins in the body, like meditation, laughing, and eating chocolate do as well, although I don't recommend eating chocolate all day just to feel good. Endorphins can lower the symptoms of depression and anxiety, which was what we needed during lockdown. They can help mitigate the effects of stress. And on days that we exercise, those were good days, as opposed to ones that we did not. Now, besides regular exercise, we came up with a plan. So what we did, we split our time between work and looking after a child. So one of us looked after M in the morning and then worked in the afternoon, and then we switched. The other one worked in the morning and looked after M in the afternoon. We also ensured that M went out of the house every day and got her share of physical energy expulsion. Having this set regularly in the first lockdown meant that we were more prepared for the second lockdown. We knew what to expect and we knew how to tackle it. And yes, COVID was all about being isolated from everyone and spending a lot of time at home. But also for me, it was time that I didn't have to be doing something all the time. Weekends included slow days where I didn't need to regularly consult my calendar, where I could potter around in the garden, enjoy sunny days reading my book in the sun, or just have lazy days in my pajamas watching Netflix and eating popcorn. It was time to look inside and enjoy my own company instead of looking for external validations by having the company of others around me all the time. But what if it isn't working? Well, first things first, get help if you need it. Don't let stress stand in the way of your health and happiness. If you are persistently overwhelmed, it may be time to seek help from a mental health professional. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Taking care of yourself is a sign of strength. But what if there's a constant pressure at work and it is not in your power to change things and adjust expectations? Well, certain jobs and roles are fundamentally incompatible with being engaged with a young family. Certain companies are also not a match for what we need to be able to keep mentally well. Acknowledge the situation you are in. And then when it is not in your control, then the only way is to leave and find a place that is better suited for you. So really, the question that I want to leave you with and that you should be asking yourself is, what is worth spending time and energy on in your life? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was terrific. Thank you.